Travis from Pilates Guy, and I'm making this video today. I've just done a one-to-one with a client to help with some specific workarounds for an injury. And I thought it'd be a really good one to make a video on because it's something I'm asked actually quite often. And we all have got aches and pains and injuries we need to work around sometimes. Sometimes they're long-term injuries, sometimes they're quite short-term. But this was about neck pain and neck discomfort when we're working through some of our exercises. And to be fair, some of the Pilates exercises do put a bit of pressure around the neck, like the 100, the plank, and even like swan dive and things that will strengthen the neck. But there are certain exercises where we just need to be a little bit careful, and there are good workarounds, especially if you're quite strong. So like if you like the 100 and you're quite strong in your core and your abdominals, but you can't lift your upper body, you may feel that you can't maximize the exercise. So I thought I'd make a video just to work around, or just to offer some workarounds, a few of those things. So I'll give you a few options. We're going to start with the 100, and I'll give you a few options with this one. But with the 100, this will apply to any exercise we do where we bring in legs on head, upper body off the floor. So like your one leg stretch or similar exercises to that. So the first option would be with a block. So where we are bringing ourselves down onto the mat to set up for our 100 or our one leg or whatever the exercise is. We're going to set ourselves up as normal. We'd be in our neutral spine. We set ourselves up, core nice and strong, one leg to tabletop and the other leg, and we're in our 2-leg tabletop position, ready to go into our 100 exercise. So the block is good if you have got a particularly painful neck and you don't like lifting your head up at all. Okay, because what you can do from here is just keep your head supported by the block. Here we need to really focus on the hip to rib connection, which is where we slide the bottom ribs down towards the hips, really causing an abdominal contraction. It actually starts to pull you upper body off the floor, or it starts to pull your knees in. But ideally we want to contract, so we want to pull your belly button down and think ribs towards hips, and it's just going to lift your shoulders slightly off the mat, and you will feel some serious abdominal work going on there. So that's how one alternative to lifting the upper body fully is keep your head supported by the block and just get a real rib to hip contraction, lifting your shoulders and just a bit of your upper back slightly off the floor. It's just very important not to push back into the block with your head. Your neck needs to be relaxed and you need to feel this work in those abdominals, okay? So this is one option, which is just, you never want that pressure to go into the neck. So it's a bit of a balance, and it's only a little lift, and it has to come from your abdominals. But it's a good way to get really good strong core work in your 100 without putting pressure on the neck. So the other option is repetitions, so lifting and lowering. So you can bring yourself into your tabletop, or let's say it's one leg stretch or 100, whatever it is, we're bringing our upper body up to here, whether you're doing that one leg stretch or you're doing toe taps before we go into the scissors, or you're in your 100, whatever it is, you can do repetitions with the upper body. So for example, the 100, you could bring yourself up into position. You could do a breath in for 5 beats and a breath out for 5 beats. And then you could lower your upper body down and do a breath in and a breath out with your upper body down. And then the next breath, you could lift your upper body back up again and then down again. And you could vary that with the one leg stretch. Even you could do your one leg stretch, you know, or if you're going for the sort of full one leg stretch, you could do the and repetition, and then you could bring your upper body down and you could do a repetition with your upper body down, and then you could bring yourself back up. I know it looks a bit complicated, depends what level you're working to. It might be you're just working with the one leg stretch and then you bring your upper body down for a rest as you keep going, and you do two repetitions with your upper body down, 2 repetitions with your upper body lifted. So that's another option, is repetitions with the upper body. So we've gone block, we've said repetitions. Another thing, depending if it's not particularly major neck problem you've got, it's just a bit uncomfortable, a bit sore, is to support the weight of your head with your fingertips. And I normally mention this when during a class, during a session. But it's to take your fingertips just behind your ears to your head and just support the weight of your head. Now, unfortunately, if you do this one, taking the arms back here puts a lot more work on the core. So some people like to do this anyway to work their abdominals more, but taking those fingertips to the back of the head and supporting it is a good option. just be very careful. The mistake I see people make is they pull their head forward like this, which is really bad for your neck. Just support the weight of your head so your neck isn't straining so much, and just try and relax your neck as much as possible while making those abdominals work. So there's 3 options to work around in your 100s or in your one leg stretch or the toe tap scissors and that sort of thing. You can use the block, you can do repetitions, or you can support the weight of your head with your fingertips. Other things to think about are like your swan dive. This is great for strengthening the neck. Sort of low level swan dive where we're lifting the upper body and lengthening through that. And this helps build stability and strength in your neck. But some people do find this does put a bit of strain on the neck. So if you've got a block, this one's actually a bit too big, but you can use a block. So you lengthen, lift and hold and lower, or you don't lift as high, so your lifts are just a little bit smaller coming from the chest, remember? Those are options. A smaller block, or if the block is too much, you could just fold your mat a little bit, or get a towel and wrap that into squares and just let your head rest on that smaller lift rather than a block. So that's a good idea for swan dive. Things like the plank, it's very difficult to manage, okay, really difficult to manage. I mean, one option would be to bring yourself into your plank and just let your forehead just rest gently on the block in your plank, okay? So you're in a nice, strong plank, all the normal stuff. I'm assuming we know what we're doing, core engagement, neutral spine, and we're just letting that forehead relax onto the block, just to take the pressure off your neck. So that's a good option there. There are lots of different ones, you know, when we're lying on our side, we might be doing clam or some single leg work. We might get strain in the neck here. Having something between your head and shoulder is a good idea. So you could, again, wrap up a towel or something between your head and your shoulder just to keep that neck neutral and just keep your head and neck fully supported, because your head's bloody heavy, some more than others. Depends if you're brainy or just got a big head. But every bit further forward your head comes, it puts more pressure on your neck and so on. So we've got to be careful with this. So there's a few options I've gone through with a few different exercises there where you can try and work around. If you've got really bad neck problems, the advice is just keep your upper body down, you know, find an alternative exercise or something like that. But I don't really like to say just don't do it or just keep your upper body down. I'd like to see if there's a way we can find where you can still get the full benefit of an exercise but using a workaround. But I hope that's helpful to some extent. Bit of a ramble as usual from me. If you've got any questions or anything, please feel free to drop me a line. It's russ@pilatesguy.co.uk, or just go to the website www.pilatesguy.co.uk and contact me through there. But yes, I hope it's useful. Hopefully you enjoyed the video and speak to you again soon.